What is going on, everybody? The text message is out, and if you're not getting the text messages, you should do that. Because of course, if you're probably hearing this later, you probably missed the live show. You're watching this, you're sitting there going, "Oh man, they went live. That's great. I'm gonna check that out. Wish I could watch it live." But alas, YouTube, Rumble, nobody's sending you notifications. It doesn't even matter if you turn on notifications, if you subscribe, although you should do both of those things. But what you really want to do, the real cool kids around here, they're getting on the Canary Cry text message alert system. It's so easy. All you got to do is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Again, like I said, Canary. Don't put any punctuation marks, no exclamation points, just the word Canary. Send that to 877-740-3226. You'll get put on the list. You'll start getting some text messages from me personally. I write them. I send them. It's a blast. I love it. And you're going to love it too. So make sure to get on that list. You'll just get a text message every so often, a couple times a week when we go live. So you'll never miss a show if that's what you want to do. But everybody knows the most fun part about it is that not only will you never miss a show again, but you can text us back. You can text me back. I read them all 24/7. You people are texting this number. It's very fun. I read them. I appreciate them. Sometimes we read them on the show, like this one. Pay attention to the area codes because people are finding each other all over the world through these area codes. 541 is saying, "Knock, knock. Who's there? Hike. Hike who? Unsuspecting Gons." Basil waits with bated breath. Sets the perfect trap. Thanks for good hangs during work from your friendly neighbor UPS driver, Stouffer. Thank you very much. Haiku, get it? Because Gons? Oh, that's so good. Another one here from 806 just says, "Yeah, just ordered my second batch of Cage Rattler coffee this morning. Peru Dark is where it's at. CageRattlerCoffee.com, folks. Go get it." 774 says, "Hi Basil, thanks for the text. I'll be watching." Sir Guthbrander, thank you very much, Sir Guthbrander, for catching the show. One or two more here. Oh, 920 said, "Officially a Cage Rattler repeat customer." There you go, folks. That's all you need to know. Repeat customers. Going to CageRattlerCoffee.com to support the show and get the best coffee in the world. At least that's what I've been told. 250 says, "So grateful for you both. Blessings, brothers, Cat." So there you go. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Get on the list. Let's start the show. Leaked war plans to the Atlantic exactly as planned, or Trump team whoopsie. Nick Sorter exposes Sodagate as stealth marketing by sold-out conservatives. CIA files claim Ark of the Covenant may have been found, but what does that mean for our universe and the end of the world? This is Canary Cry News Talk, and the show starts now.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is March 26, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 827. And today, ARK LARP. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape in the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. Bursting bubbles. Sorry to burst your bubble, Basil.
Burst the
and
bubbles,
other people out there.
Baby.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of bus burbles lately. A lot of bursting bubbles. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I mean, that's what the show's all about. I've come to the point, and I don't know if this is some sort of spiritual maturity or apathy or something. I don't know what it is. But when bubbles start getting burst, there's a little bit of a there's another one. Oh, I like it. Oh, it's good. It's a win. At this point, it's a total win.
Yeah.
So we do have some burst bubbles today, Gons. But I do need to maybe burst your bubble for a second. I'm not sure if our new go live schedule is working very well. For those who watch the show live, you may have noticed as when you get to the show, you're coming in later and later and later. Well, we are looking at the statistics, and it looks like, there's a decent amount of people who just can't make it through the opening of the show, the opening of the live stream. Now, if you're listening on podcast version, you don't know this, but the live version of the show, has a couple minutes of funny fake ads from Sir Darren that play while people enter the room, and then we start the show. Well, we thought, okay, well, if people aren't making it through the ads, the fake ads, maybe we should just try to dive right into the show. And now we pretty much dive right into the show in under a minute, but it's such a short period of time that nobody actually makes it to the beginning of the show anymore. There's like 10 people by the time the show actually starts. So I don't know if you guys have any opinion on whether, giving a little bit more of a lead up on the live show is good. We don't want anybody to miss anything, but there you go. That's just us reaching out to producers. Somebody just tell us what to do. Can somebody just tell us what to do? And we'll do it and just say, this will make you successful and everybody will love it. And then we'll just do it. We're very much in the dark about most things regarding this live podcasting thing. But what are you going to do, Guns?
Yeah, I don't know. As long as we're live now, we're good.
We're live
right?
now.
We're live now
when people are coming in. So people are making it.
Boom.
So, I guess we do like a small amount of random ranting at the top of the hour anyways. So maybe this is enough time. I want to give a big shout out. We had some people who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. You should do that too, folks. Just text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Don't not get on the list. Do get on the list. And listen for your area code, because these are Canarians near you. 940 said, I need to know I'm real. Read me. I'm reading you. You're real, 940. You're real. And, I thought this was just a good place to start, because, Gons, if we're not able to confirm to people that they are real and extant and conscious, what are we even good for? That's like a minimally viable product. If there's a show, if there's a podcast, whatever, and you don't even know if you're real after listening to it, I think that's not even hitting the lowest watermark of media. Just something to think about, folks. A little bit heady there. 602 just texted, says, sitting in the shop waiting on a vehicle. At least I got the Canary boys to keep me occupied. We're here to keep you occupied. That's what we're here for. 360, This is Sir Tristan, says, please pray for my father-in-law and baby and family. We are going through it right now. Baby is sick and my father-in-law had a seizure in his flight from Canada to Florida. Love all my Canarians and producers. Goodness gracious, Gons, we should hit that pray-ducer button right off the bat.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Come on.
Pray-ducers, assemble!
That's right, folks. Who are the pray-ducers? Y'all are the pray-ducers. People spiritually producing the show. It's very important. Of course, pray for Gons and I, because that's what this whole show runs on. But also pray for the other producers, the other Canarians all around the world. We're praying for Sir Tristan, Knight of the Garden. His little baby's sick. His father-in-law just had a stroke. It's a rough time over there. We are certainly praying for you, Sir Tristan. Absolutely. When it rains, it pours, but God is mighty, and he's capable of miracles. So,
amen.
One last one here. This comes from 704. This is Jessica P. Says, it's Wednesday, my dudes. It is actually for real Wednesday this time, guys.
It is Realsies Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We'll cue up the Wednesday jingle. I'll read the rest of the message. And looks like there's trouble a-brewing for El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, for having accepted the Venezuelans into CICOT. That's the terrorist prison that the Venezuelans went to from Trump. Venezuelans protested yesterday to force Maduro to take back the Venezuelan prisoners from El Salvador. Lots of threats towards Bukele. It's a dictator standoff. Grab your popcorn, folks. Jessica P., your friendly neighborhood Salvadorian. Thank you very much to our boots on the ground Salvadorian. Yeah, this is interesting. Look, there's a lot of media hullabaloo about whether or not those 200-something alleged gang members that got sent to the prison in El Salvador were gang members or not. What I love about the story is they're saying that there's a story about this soccer player, right? This guy from Venezuela, I believe. who got sent to the El Salvadorian prison. He got picked up because he had a gang tattoo of Tren de Aragua. And of course, the media is like, he's not in a gang. He's not in a gang. Look, his mom says he's not in a gang. Look, his uncle says he's not in a gang. Then they're like, well, he has a gang tattoo. They're like, it's not a gang tattoo. It's just a tattoo that happens to be the same tattoo of Tren de Aragua. It doesn't mean... I guess one of their gang tattoos is a soccer ball with a crown on it.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
And he has the soccer ball with the crown tattoo, and they're like,
he just loves soccer.
He just loves soccer. He just loves soccer. Okay. Anyways, it's just a whole circus we haven't been following on the show because it's really a distraction for a lot of things. But the reason they went to El Salvador is because Venezuela said they would not take those criminals back. That's the whole reason they made it to El Salvador. But now it's kind of like, you only want what you can't have type of thing. If you're the dictator of Venezuela and you didn't want your criminals and now you want them because they're not yours. I get it. It's rough. It's rough being a man in this world. And yes, in theory, if it's a bunch of Venezuelan gang members in the El Salvador prison and there's some, let's say, community organizing over in Venezuela to get those gang members back, it's probably a little bit more than just your neighborhood, PTA meeting trying to get the gang members back. I'm saying it's probably the gang members trying to get the other gang members back because that's what you do for your buds. You know what? Say what you will about gangs. That's they look out for each other.
Are we still playing the Wednesday jingle?
I've been
for it. Armed with that thing forever.
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Needed to clear my sinus after that. That little
That's good.
verse. Yeah.
I love it. It's good. So thank you, everybody who's joined the text message alert system. I recommend everybody do that. Of course, in this day and age, the algorithms, they want to make your world smaller and smaller and smaller. That's part of the deception going on, is that the internet, these platforms, they claim to make your world bigger, and yet through their tiny room censorship, their algorithmic suppression, they're actually more interested in making your world smaller. So having a direct connection by texting Canary to 877-740-3226 is a great way to fight back. All right. What do you think is next, Gons?
Thanking some executive producers.
That's right. Let's do it. Executive producers. Woo!
Executive producers.
Well, you know this. We're on the value for value model, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, nothing. Not even online freelance propaganda marketplaces. We're going to get into that later. We're entirely funded by nothing except for people who go, oh, I get it. It doesn't exist unless I support it in a tangible way. And people come in, they produce the show. They are producers with their time, their talent, or their treasure, whatever it is that God has given you to put to work to make this world what you think it should be. That's what people are doing. Now, you can go to canarycry.support to learn more all about that. But the executive producers, those are people who come in for $100 or more for any individual episode. And we thank them very much, and so should you. And so we'll do that now. Ready, Gons? Well, starting out, this was a little bit of a sad day by the time that the email went out because we had actually 0 executive producers. But just in the nick of time, we got executive producer Felicia D coming in.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Felicia D. She must be a dame at this point, is she not? Is she your
Yes,
dame?
I have spoken with Felicia D about this before, and she has she would like to remain a servant for now. But at any moment she would like, she can be a member of the Canary Cry round table of knights and dames. And perhaps maybe one of these days we'll just do it without her permission. I don't know. I don't know how any of this works.
Just start calling her Dame Felicia
Dame
D.
Felicia, might as well. And with that, Gons, I am going to go ahead and take a step of faith just so we don't need to correct it later. We're also going to have executive producer Sir LX Protocol, Baron of the Berean Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
There he is, and I'm sure he will come in for $100.33. He will be on a 381 episode streak and a 34 episode executive producer streak. I'll say this.
Say it, yeah.
I don't want to assume. This is no pressure. If Sir Alex Protocol is just trying to make it 33 executive producer
that's
streak,
true.
it's possible.
Maybe.
That may have just been the goal. So no pressure. I'm just, there are times when it just takes a couple minutes to come through, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's possible. We might have to rescind his executive producership for this episode.
We've never done it before, and there's a first time for everything. And I'm sure the most famous executive producer in the history of Canary Cry. I'm sure we would feel motivated to commit such a heinous act as to do that. Just messing with you, Sir LX Protocol. All right, there you go. There's our executive producers for the day. We got a couple other producers that we'll thank later on in the show, but there's still time, folks. You can go to canarycry.support to support the show.
Do it now. Yes, sir. Time to jump into some Trumpian news.
Let's do some news.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent. They're coming after me. They love killing.
Oh, yes. The plans are working. The leaked plans are working.
This is one of those times. Now, the jury's still out, but this is one of those times when the mainstream media, I can't tell. I have to believe that they just are playing ignorant, or maybe they're just playing their part. It's really hard to tell sometimes whether or not they are truly that sort of uninterested in the truth of things. But this has been the big story over the past couple days, and you've probably heard it floating around. But some of the details are being missed, often being missed. So it's probably a good thing to cover it on the show today, Gons.
Yeah, this is coming from your favorite outlet, Basil, The Atlantic.
Love it.
Yep. And the headline here, the Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans.
Oh, hate it when that happens.
U.S. national security leaders included me in a group chat about upcoming military strikes in Yemen. I didn't think it could be real. Then the bombs started falling.
Whoa.
Written by Jeffrey Goldberg. Isn't it a rule in journalism not to become the story, or am I just hallucinating that was ever a thing?
It used to be back when journalism sort of meant something.
Right. I guess not anymore, huh?
No.
It says here, the world found out shortly after 2 p.m. Eastern time on March 15th that the United States was bombing Houthi targets across Yemen. I, however, knew 2 hours before the first bombs exploded that the attack might be coming. The reason I knew this is that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had texted me the war plan at 11:44 a.m. The plan included precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. This is going to require some explaining.
Oh, Lord.
Why were you on some text thread there with them, Sir Jeffrey?
That's
maybe
the question.
Not a sir, but I don't know why everything is royal today. Maybe because we're joining the Commonwealth. The story technically begins shortly after the Hamas invasion of southern Israel in October 2023. The Houthis, an Iran-backed terrorist organization whose motto is, quote, God is great, death to America, death to Israel, curse on the Jews, victory to Islam. Which, by the way, this aspect of the story will become relevant later when we talk about the ARK. So it all connects. It all connects. Soon launched attacks on Israel and on international shipping, creating havoc for global trade. Throughout 2024, the Biden administration was ineffective in countering these Houthi attacks. The incoming Trump administration promised a tougher response. This is where Pete Hegseth and I come in.
Together.
He's coming in. Sweet. On Tuesday, March 11th, I received a connection request on Signal from a user identified as Michael Walls. Signal is an open source encryption messaging service popular with journalists and others who seek more privacy than other text messaging services are capable of delivering. Even though Tucker Carlson, a few months ago, talked about how his Signal was totally, spied on basically for his planned trip to Russia and things like that. So
it's not uncompromisable.
No, not at all. I assumed that the Michael Waltz in question was President Donald Trump's national security advisor. That is a little dangerous. Like, you shouldn't assume anything if you're getting random text messages from people. But
and that's the first part of it, isn't it? Because if you show up, you randomly get a look. We have all been added onto random group chats.
Whether we've all been added to national security threads on Signal. I mean, it hasn't happened to you.
Whether it's like random church lady group chats or like random, sometimes it's obvious like scammers or spam group chats. This is a common practice. It's not totally unusual to be, added to a group chat without your permission. In fact, this is one of the more, audacious curses that someone can inflict upon you. Especially if you're like me and you have 6,000 unread text messages thanks to these group chats. But yes, the very idea that anyways, we'll get into it. It happens all the time. And
it happens all the time. So for him to just be like, I assumed out of nowhere that it was at the Michael Waltz, President Trump's national security advisor. I mean, he must already be in a place of pretty high privilege if that's your first assumption. But anyway, I continue here. I did not assume, however, that the request was from the actual Michael Waltz. Good job. I have met him in the past, and though I didn't find it particularly strange that he might be reaching out to me, I did think it was somewhat unusual given the Trump administration's contentious relationship with journalists and Trump's periodic fixation on me specifically. It immediately crossed my mind that someone could be masquerading as Waltz in order to somehow entrap me. It is not all uncommon these days for nefarious actors to try to induce okay, so he's doing all his stuff like could be I accepted the connection. Yeah, I accepted the connection request. Yeah, okay. So clearly those other thoughts about like maybe it's something else didn't last very long because you accepted it without verifying it, hoping that this was the actual national security advisor and that he wanted to chat about Ukraine or Iran or some other important matter. 2 days later, Thursday at 4:28 p.m., I received a notice that I was to be included in a Signal chat group. It was called the Houthi PC Small Group. A message to the group from Michael Waltz read as follows, quote, team establishing a principal group for coordination on Houthis, particularly for the next 72 hours. My deputy, Alex Wong, is pulling together a tiger team at Deputy's Agency Chief of Staff level, following up from the meeting in the sit room this morning for action items, and we'll be sending that out later this evening, end quote. The message continued.
This is one of the first details. I mean, there's many details that are weird, but one of the first weird details is that, so on Signal, if any, I know probably most people have a Signal account or maybe not, I don't know. When you want to just add somebody to your contact list, it sends a little confirmation. Like, do you want to actually connect with this person? Right. He's saying that Mike Waltz connected with him 2 days before being added to a group chat. So there's no like, hi, what's up? Why do you want to connect?
Hey, I'm going to add you to this group.
There was nothing. Right. So like already being asked to connect on Signal by Mike Waltz should have been a like, what, you didn't reach out? You didn't say hi? You didn't say thanks? Great to connect? You just left it there? I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but whatever. And then 2 days later being added to a group chat. It's just very interesting. Like there's so many missing parts that people are not paying attention to.
Yeah. The term Principals Committee generally refers to a group of the senior-most national security officials, including the Secretaries of Defense, State, and the Treasury, as well as the Director of the CIA. It should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway, that I have never been invited to a White House Principals Committee meeting, and that in my many years of reporting on national security matters, I had never heard of one being convened over a commercial messaging app. Ooh, we live in the future. 1 minute later, a person identified only as Mar, M-A-R. The Secretary of State is Marco Antonio Rubio. Good job decoding. Wrote, quote, Mike Needham for state, apparently designating the current counselor of the State Department as his representative. At that same moment, a Signal user identified as J.D. Vance wrote, quote, Andy Baker for VP. 1 minute after that, oh my gosh, this is so.
Yeah, we don't have to go. We don't have to go through all.
This
of
is
it.
so. The TG, it's Tulsi Gabbard. They're all there. Yay! All the friends are there. I am amongst them.
Yeah, so he's in this. There's 19 people on this chat as a whole.
Yeah.
So a pretty big group. There's lots of questions swirling around. Of course, you wonder, are these the real people? Are they not? Who knows? But to our knowledge, he was the only like non-government person included. And, you know, he's from the Atlantic. So right off the bat, you go, okay, wow, what a whoopsie daisies. I mean, every headline, of which there are now thousands, is Mike Waltz mistakenly adds the Atlantic journalist. Oh, Mike Waltz made a whoopsie, added journalist to secret Signal chat. Oh, what a mistake. What a whoopsie. They're so stupid. And it's like, seriously, are we seriously, this is what we're going with? That this is some sort, I mean, is not unheard of at all. In fact, it's a regular practice when it comes to, you know, political access journalism for politicians to be in direct contact with journalists. I mean, it's a part of the business. That's why journalism went from being like a blue collar vocation to an elite, you know, 1% type of organization like mafia is because it's your connections, the people's desire to include you in their secret stuff. This is all very, very important to sort of the dastardly monstrosity that is, you know, access journalism in today's world.
Right.
Which arguably is one of the main things that makes it, you know, entirely untrustworthy.
Yeah. He goes on, he's sharing all the different interactions that happened. He says that he thought maybe it was an AI text generator. And then he says, I was still concerned that this could be a disinformation operation or a simulation of some sort.
Whoa.
Have I been reeled into a simulation? And I remained mystified that no one in the group seemed to have noticed my presence. But if it was a hoax, the quality of mimicry and the level of foreign policy insights were impressive.
And again, look at the false dichotomy. The dichotomy he is working with here is, ooh, I was let into a real thing and nobody noticed I was there. Or it was totally fake. Those are the two options.
The two options, yeah.
The two perfect options of it's fake and don't pay attention, or accidentally added. Surely they wouldn't want anybody to get this secret message out.
So March 15th was when things got very bizarre. At 11:44 a.m., the account labeled Pete Hegseth posted in Signal a, quote, team update in all caps. And he says, I will not quote from this update or from certain other subsequent text. The information contained in them, if they had been read by an adversary of the U.S., could conceivably have been used to harm American military and intelligence personnel, particularly in the broader Middle East Central Command's area of responsibility.
He is later revealed all of the messages.
He does. He allows the other online influencer platform. We'll get to that in a second.
But this was a big part of it too, was like, ooh, there was even more information that he didn't release, because once you do get to reading the messages, you're kind of like, okay, I don't know, what's the deal here? And then he's, you know, holding back these messages. I didn't show you the real stuff.
The only person to reply to the update from Hegseth was the person identified as the vice president. Quote, I will say a prayer for victory, Vance wrote. 2 other users subsequently added prayer emoji. It's good to know that our politicians are, you know, they're communicating via emojis as well. According to the lengthy Hegseth text, the first detonations in Yemen would be felt 2 hours hence at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time. So I waited in my car in a supermarket parking lot. If this Signal chat was real, I reasoned, Houthi targets would soon be bombed. At about 1:55, I checked X and searched Yemen. Explosions were being heard across Sana'a, the capital city. I went back to the signal channel at 1:48. "Quote unquote," Mike Waltz had provided the group an update. Again, I won't quote from this text, which again he later does. A few minutes later, John Ratcliffe wrote, "A good start." Not long after, Waltz responded with 3 emojis, a fist, an American flag, and fire. Others soon joined in, including Mar, who wrote,
Okay.
"Good job, Pete and your team. Hey, everyone, good. Hey, nice job. Good bombs. Good bombs, everybody.
Good bombs, everybody.
Good bombs.
So
good
he
explosions."
goes through the whole thing. I think what we'll do is we'll read directly from it because there's that's
yeah.
kind of the thing. We'll get into that in a second. He later on says, "I have never seen a breach quite like this. It's not uncommon for national security officials to communicate on Signal, but the app is used primarily for meeting planning and other logistical matters, not for detailed and highly confidential discussions of pending military action. And of course, I've never heard of an instance in which a journalist has been invited to such a discussion." Yeah, well, if that's kind of the point, is you're not
That
supposed
might be
to
the op
hear
right
about
there,
it. Yeah.
there, Mr. Atlantic Man.
So, of course, the headlines come rolling in. "Oh my gosh, JD Vance. Oh, they're so stupid. I can't believe they did this. Oh, it's such a scandal, scandal, scandal." And Brian Krasenstein here, the left is just having a field day with this.
Crabs and beans.
Brian Krabs and Beans, once the full conversation was released, he says, "Breaking, Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic has just released the full text message chain. I have provided all text in this post and the thread below. Checkmate."
Checkmate! Crabs and beans is checkmating the what? Republicans? Is that what it is? Is this
I
what it's supposed to be?
guess he's checkmating the Republicans.
It's
Okay.
like, it's real. Okay, go ahead.
So we'll go through this a little bit. If it gets too tedious, we don't have to. I don't know, but I think it's useful to actually see what exactly was in these things because I think it has some. Oopsies! I turned off everything. It has some pretty interesting. What's the word? Connotations.
Implications.
Trying to get implications. Yes. Are you able to get a bigger version of this? This is
Yeah,
bugging me.
I'm in.
I know, you're
Look
in
at
it.
me.
Okay,
Look at
let me open image and new tab. Okay,
I'm
here we go.
zoomed in.
You're so zoomed, bro. So this was the Mike Waltz team establishing a principals group to coordinate on Houthis, particularly over the next 72 hours. My deputy, Alex Wong, is pulling together a Tiger team. So we went over this part. This is where everybody checks in. They go, here I am, here's my guy, POC,
Roger.
point
Roger.
point of contact, Roger, let's go. Then, I'm sorry, I'm having to open these
Team.
individually.
You should have
here.
a statement of conclusions with taskings per the president's guidance this morning on your high side inboxes. State and DoD, we developed suggestion notification lists for regional allies and partners. Joint staff is sending this a more specific sequence of events in the coming days.
So
and we'll
very
work-
official.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
official
yeah.
conversation here. It's not the most exciting part of it, but it's very official. Grammar is very good. It's very, here's how this is going to work. Everybody get ready. And
Like
then
an
they
internal
start,
memo.
yeah, then they start talking about the thing, the matter at hand. Hopefully these
Is this the John Ratcliffe from CIA perspective? We are mobilizing assets to support now, but it doesn't
Yeah,
have
this is kind of
negative
where it starts coming into
more tactical.
Yes. So yes, John Ratcliffe says, from CIA perspective, we are mobilizing assets to support now, but a delay would not negatively impact us. Additional time
Would be used
to identify better starting points for coverage on Houthi leadership. So they start actually kind of talking like, hey, does this work for you? Does this work for you?
Right, yeah.
Remember,
yeah.
this is 2 hours before the actual bombs dropped.
Boom booms. Uh-huh.
So you've got all the important government people 2 hours before doing the planning, seemingly figuring out the planning themselves, like in real time. Pete Hegseth responds to the vice president. Actually, we got to go back to the JD Vance. Okay. Here's JD Vance's opener. He says, team, I am out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan, but I think we are making a mistake. 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez. 40% of European trade does. There's a real risk that the public doesn't understand why, understand this or why it's necessary. So this is where the important bit goes. They're like, I don't know. It's really not a big deal for us. It's much more. And they're talking about the Houthis, shooting at ships in the shipping lane.
Right.
He's like, I don't know, guys. It kind of seems like a mistake. It's only 3% of our trade. It's really the Europeans' job, is what he's saying. The strongest reason to do this is, as POTUS said, to send a message. But I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I am willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc. So you've got the VP, kind of being like pretty level-headed. He's working with his team, but not
he's talking about us, the public.
He's talking about the public. People don't really know. Joe Kant then comes back and says, there's nothing time-sensitive driving the timeline. The timeline that drops the bombs in 2 hours will have the exact same options in a month. The Israelis will likely take strikes and therefore ask us for more support to replenish whatever they use against the Houthis, but that's a minor factor. I will send you the unclassed data we pulled on BAM shipping. So again, talking about unclassified data on the shipping lanes. John Ratcliffe, that's when he says, from CIA perspective, we are mobilizing asset to support blah, 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 delays.
I'm sure the CIA is always in the act of mobilizing assets. That's
a good point.
Not a particularly unique thing there.
Now, Pete Hegseth comes back talking to Vice President Vance. He says, I understand your concerns and fully support you raising with POTUS important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they play out: economy, Ukraine, peace, Gaza, etc. I think messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we would need to stay focused on 1, Biden failed, 2, Iran funded. Waiting a few weeks or a month does not fundamentally change the calculus. Will you finish the reading? Finish that one out.
2 immediate risks on waiting. 1, this leaks and we look indecisive. Oh, this leaks, huh? This message, this entire conversation leaks.
It's
an option. One of the options. Okay. All right. 2, Israel takes an action first or Gaza's ceasefire falls apart, and we don't get to start this on our own terms. We can manage both. Clearly, they can. They went with option 1. We are prepared to execute, and if I had a final go or no-go vote, I believe we should. This is not about the Houthis. I see it as 2 things. 1, restoring freedom of navigation, a core national interest. And 2, reestablish deterrence, which Biden cratered.
Okay. So they're saying
the messaging. That's the messaging right there.
We have 2 things. One of them, it can leak. And look, we all know that we have a problem. People won't understand. If only there was a way that we could get the messaging out in a way that people would know. And like the grammar is perfect. Everything is perfect. It's beautifully laid out. And they have like 1, this is important. 2, Biden's bad and failed. Yeah. And then on the next page, it continues, says, but we can easily pause. And if we do, I will do all we can to enforce 100% OPSEC, which is Operation Security. I welcome other thoughts. So they are OPSEC, meaning leaks. I will enforce Operation Security. I will enforce that nobody knows about this. We know it's happening in 2 hours, and we're just making the plan right now, and it's all going to happen. We happen to be doing this on Signal, and there happens to be a reporter got randomly invited. Oh, if only the public would know why we're doing this, almost like if they could watch us explain it piece by piece in a totally unnatural way. Like all these things being spoken about, a lot of this would be implicit that the
Right. They wouldn't use
members,
specific numbers. I mean, they might use numbers, but it would be way more loosey-goosey
it's
if it was
way
really
too
like
descriptive.
it's way too it's way too
there would
perfect.
be an assumption that everybody in the chat would already know some of these assumptions,
Right.
like
Yeah.
Biden screwed up and shipping, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's laid out perfectly, almost as if they wanted anybody
wanted
to
Mr. Goldberg.
understand. Now, this
Particularly tailored to Mr. Goldberg.
Mike Waltz comes in. The trade figures we have are 15% of global, 30% of container. It's difficult to break down that to the U.S. This is a minor detail. He's saying the shipping that we're going to be protecting doesn't really affect us, so I don't know. And then Mike Waltz comes in and gives exact figures to explain to everybody it barely matters. Again, it barely matters to anybody in the chat. But for the public, they literally they don't want it to leak, and OPSEC is very important. And it's happening in 2 hours, and I hope nobody sees this. But they go through this list of exact details that they wish that the public knew about.
Yeah, like justification of why you want to do it right now. I mean, we could do it later, but right now.
The trade figures we have are 15% of global, 30% of container. It's difficult to break that down to U.S. specific because much of the container either goes through the Red Sea or still around the Cape of Good Hope. Our components going to Europe that turns into manufactured goods for a transatlantic trade to the United States. How could we ever explain this to the public? Whether we pull the plug or not today, European navies do not have the capability to defend against the types of sophisticated anti-ship cruise missiles and drones the Houthis are now using. If only the public knew that the European navies couldn't do anything about it and how sophisticated the drones are. So whether it's now or several weeks from now, it will have to be the United States that reopens these shipping lanes. Per the president's request, we are working with DoD and state to determine how to compile the cost associated and levy them on the Europeans. And now we get into what they really want people to know about. Why don't you read that next Mike Waltz thing, and I'll pull up the next
Hold
one.
on. Is this? I thought this was already. We already read this one.
It's Mike Waltz at the very bottom after. Who's this guy? Oh, sorry. It's Mike Waltz is the big one, and then it's Mike Waltz again underneath.
Okay, so he's doing. Okay.
That's the
As
one.
we
You're on.
stated in the first PC. Ooh, there's a little typo. Maybe it was him after all. As we stated in the first PC, we have a fundamental decision of allowing the sea lanes to remain closed or to reopen them now or later. We are the only ones with the capability, unfortunately. From a messaging standpoint, we absolutely add this to of horribles on why the Europeans must invest in their defense.
Okay,
Wow.
so now we're getting to, should
Now
we
he's-
bomb?
now
I don't
he's
know. Should we bomb or
Typing while
not?
he's driving.
Well, let's bomb because here's a whole big thing about the Europeans, and they're not pulling their weight. It says, but
Yeah.
we can easily pause, and if we do, oops, I pulled up the wrong one again. Nuts. No. Trying to go to the next one. There it is. Excuse
All right,
me.
I think we can move on here to the JD Vance response to Pete Hegseth here.
Sorry.
and start
that's,
there.
That's what I'm trying to pull up.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
please.
JD Vance tags Pete Hegseth and says, "If you think we should do it, let's go.
Here
I
we
just
go.
hate bailing Europe out again."
Oh, we're bailing Europe out again.
Bailing him out again.
Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, then we should do it. Pete
The
Hegseth-
Saudis will learn about this and say, "Oh wow, they're so
Yes,
considerate."
Exactly. There's nothing but benefit for this
Oh my
leak to come
gosh,
out
so
because
funny.
A, the Europeans know, oh my gosh, JD Vance, he's so mad. He's serious. He's so serious that we need to start pulling our weight. We need to up our defense spending. This is Trump's whole thing with Europe, which is like, hey, we're tired of doing all your stuff. We're tired of protecting you. We're tired of fighting your wars. You got to pull your thing. And this is JD Vance going like, okay, we can come save you again, Europe, because this really doesn't help us very much. We can come save you again, but I'm really irritated with having to bail you out again. Oh, what a great secret message telling Europe exactly what they want Europe to know. Pete Hegseth responds, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. And pathetic is in all caps.
All caps.
And it's very reminiscent of a Trump tweet.
Yeah,
this sort of harshness with the, emphasis on very clean and very, specific all capsing of the most sort of, barbed words. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet, on our side of the ledger, who can do this. Nobody else is even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is a good time as any, given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space, which is another kind of interesting detail, considering that the bombs dropped 2 hours later. Part of the conversation here is like, it sounds like they're going to give POTUS 24 hours, or that he has 24 hours. But the fact that the bombs dropped so soon is this thing where like, oh, Trump was decisive. He knew it needed to be done. He did it. He had 24 hours. He didn't take the 24 hours. He just said, go. Let's go save Europe one more time. Let's go protect the world, even though we don't want to, even though everybody's freeloading off of us. We're the only ones who can do it. So he's decisive, and he says, let's go. Then it goes, again, just a little bit more. SM, whoever SM is in here, says, as I heard it, the president was clear. Green light. But we soon make it clear to Egypt and Europe what we expect in return. Oh, I hope Egypt and Europe doesn't see our secret messages and know exactly what we want them to do in return. We also need to figure out how to enforce such a requirement. E.g., if Europe doesn't remunerate, then what? If the U.S. successfully restores freedom of navigation at great cost, there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return. Pete Hegseth says, agreed.
SM is Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller? Yeah.
I don't know precisely who that is. I've heard the name. I'm not sure who it is, though. But
I think he's the political advisor, Homeland Security advisor.
Of course. Yeah. So we have this perfectly crafted, every single point that they say that they want other people to know. It's the most hilarious part about it. Because they're like, we're so sad the public doesn't know this exact thing, this exact thing, this exact thing. We wish that they knew this. Oh, Europe and Egypt. Oh, I wish they knew this exact thing. It's just a list of things that they want people to know.
It would be as if you and I created some fake signal conversation where we're like revealing something we want everybody to know and then adding some random producer to the mix, and they don't know why, and we're like, gee, I wish we knew how to tell the public about this situation we're having here. And then the producer feels compelled to share it with the world. They accidentally text me the entire Canary Cry plans.
They accidentally texted me a list of things that they wish everybody knew, but I was secretly involved. Now, here is one thing that is coming up in a lot of the hearings that are going on right now about this. And this was an interesting part. Pete Hegseth team update. So this is an update. This is sometime later, and it says Time now, 11:44 Eastern Time. Weather is favorable, all caps. Just confirmed, all caps. With CENTCOM, all caps. We are a go, all caps, for mission launch. Okay, we're going. It's time. And
Boom,
it
boom,
lays
boom.
out a schedule. At 12:15, the F-18s launch. At 1:45, trigger-based F-18 first strike on a window target. Window starts. It's talking about a terrorist at his girlfriend's house or something. At 2:10, more F-18s. This is just like the schedule of the missile launches. Now, this is, I believe, I'd have to go back more specifically. I believe this came in after the actual strikes actually happened. I'm
Like a
trying to
report of what went down.
Right. This is the update of what happened. So I'm looking here. Yes, 9 something. What's the actual time? What's his face may have like put this in there because as far as the oh yeah, let's see here. I will say a prayer for victory at 12:13 from JD Vance. So they were already a couple hours into this schedule by the time this schedule was sort of posted. But this is what in the hearings right now everybody's arguing about. Was this classified? This schedule of bombings, this schedule of trigger-based bombings, then this time-based bombing, and then this other strike on this target, and then this other strike. And
so they had just launched the F-18s for the first strike package, and that's where the text went out. Or 20 minutes before. So that would make it would be right about
right in the middle.
Right,
in the middle.
Well, no, 12:13. So literally right before, like 2 minutes before the launch is when, or maybe 20 minutes before, because Vance is.
Oh yeah, it looks like it. It looks like immediately. It
Right,
couldn't have.
It
couldn't have come out any time much earlier than the actual start.
Right. So I will say a prayer for victory. That's JD Vance at 12:13, and at 12:15 was the first item on this list. So it was literally like, here we go. Let's go.
At the end, more to follow per timeline. We are currently clean on OPSEC, operational security. Godspeed to our warriors. And then it began. Now, in the hearings going on right now, there's a lot of hullabaloo, not really about what was contained. There's a little bit of like, was this classified? Was this not classified? And I won't get into the whole details necessarily, but as far as the government is concerned, none of this was necessarily counts as classified information in sort of a I don't know, in sort of the strictest sense because of the timeline of it actually getting posted. Because by the time it's getting posted, it's already in.
Right, it's already in motion. It's already happening.
Already in motion, right. Okay, one last one here. And then a little bit later, it says Michael Waltz, VP, building collapsed, had multiple positive IDs. Pete, Carilla, the IC, amazing job. JD Vance says, what? Michael Waltz says, typing too fast. The first target, their top missile. So this is Michael Waltz like excitedly telling everybody that the missiles are, typing too fast. The first target, their top missile guy. We had a positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building and now it's collapsed. Excellent, says JD Vance. Fist emoji, flag emoji, fire emoji from Michael Waltz.
So this is them celebrating the death of a terrorist? Is that
this is the celebration of the successful execution of this conversation and the actual bombings. MAR says, good job, Pete and your team. Michael Watts says, the team in MAL did a great job as well. Great work, all. Powerful start. CENTCOM is and on point. Great job, all. More strikes ongoing for hours tonight. We'll provide full initial report tomorrow. But on time, on target, and good readout so far. Kudos to all, most particularly those in the theater.
Susie
CENTCOM,
Wiles.
really great. God bless. Yeah, Susie Wiles chimes in there. And so as far as like what's actually released, it is so obvious to me, but maybe, it's not really in the media's interest to sort of realize this or tell anybody this, but it's so obviously a purposeful addition to the Atlantic because they had a bunch of stuff they wish everybody knew, and they wanted everybody to know it really, really quickly. They don't want to wait a month to get the messaging out and go on the news and have the press conferences as to why this happened. No, they wanted everybody to know every exact reason why they did it and why they did it all in a 2-hour time frame. When they said, oh, we could take a month, doesn't matter. Yeah, let's take a month. I don't care. It takes a month. Boom. 2 hours later, they just do it.
So do it first, then explain it. How do we explain this to the public?
Well, in the fastest possible way
there you go.
To explain it is to accidentally leak it to the Atlantic, like the most anti-Trump, of the respected outlets. Nobody respects MSNBC. Like, who cares? The Atlantic at least still has some credibility, even in the, of course, their position as dedicated opposition against the Trump administration. And yet, headline after headline, tweet after tweet after tweet. Oh my gosh, they're so stupid. I can't believe it. Brr, brr, brr. The hearings going on now. Oh, in fact, we did just get an update, Gons.
I saw that. Yep.
The use of Signal. This is everybody's biggest problem. This is the left's biggest problem because they read the messages and it's like, okay, I mean, maybe that's why they're kind of like not making a big deal about what's actually in the messages, because it's so obvious that this was a scheme to get the messaging out as quickly and as powerfully as possible with as much fireworks as possible, make it look like an accidental leak by the idiots in the Trump campaign, and boom, everybody will know it within 45 minutes. And that's basically what happened. Yeah. But now these hearings and stuff, it's all about, well, they're not even allowed to use Signal. They can't talk about this on Signal. In fact, apparently there is a case now that they've opened up. And Libs of TikTok says Judge James Boasberg was just assigned to the case involving the Signal chat, the same judge who tried stopping Trump from deporting the terrorists. So this judge is like a celebrity now. This is the guy, we didn't go too deep into it on the show, but when Trump was sending the planes to the El Salvador filled with the gang members, there was actually a hearing in court as the planes were taking off. And this, I believe he's an Obama judge, said, no, you can't do that. Turn your planes around. But he didn't write it down. Remember, we talked about that. Right. Yeah. So
very important paper. Very, very important.
Very important.
Very
and he
advanced
started
technology.
It started this whole conversation in the U.S. about like, can just some lower court judge just tell the president what he can't and can't do? Like, this is foreign affairs. This is, this kind of, he can't just tell the president to stop doing something when it comes to foreign policy. That's an ongoing conversation. That exact same judge is the guy who's being given the Signal chat case, apparently.
It's his role. It's his role to be the very ineffective judge.
It's
just like a liberal mouthpiece, an ineffective judge to say the things, because the news outlets, there's such low trust of any mainstream news outlet. The only people they have left are probably like, people like him, Judge James Boasberg.
You're right. Everyday Democrats are so they're fuming mad at the Democrat Party because they say specifically they're not doing anything. They're so angry at their Congress people. They're so angry at all the Democrats because they're helpless. They can't really do anything. They're like, why do we even have you guys? They've been having a hard time at all these town halls. It's like a whole thing. But to have this judge be able to at least say, no, you literally can't do anything, Trump. I command you. You can't do anything. Oh, if you're in Trump's cabinet, you can't do anything you just did. Did you do it? Well, you can't do that. At least it's giving like this mouthpiece.
Right. Verbal affirmations.
Right. Verbal friction. So the Democrat Party at least has like something going on.
Right.
Now, the use of the Signal app is where everybody's tripping out. Like, it's just a commercial app. You can't use that. That's crazy. Are we really making war plans on Signal app? You need a special something or other. Well, unfortunately, for anybody who thinks that that's illegal, you go to CISA.gov, which is the cybersecurity agency
Infrastructure,
yes.
cybersecurity and infrastructure security agencies. CISA.
Yeah, and so they make all the rules for how government can use technology. And here's their mobile communications best practices guidance. What's their best practices? Well, it says here general recommendations. Apply these best practices to your device and online accounts. 1. Use only end-to-end encryption communications. Adopt a free messaging application for secure communication that guarantees end-to-end encryption, such as Signal or similar apps. So there it is. It's just right there in the law. They can use Signal if they want to. Nothing in there seems to have been like illegally declassified. Tulsi Gabbard made a big thing, of course. It's all for show now. Everything's for show.
This is content generation for some of these politicians to explain themselves.
Yeah, and the Democrats
educate the population.
The Democrats, I think, or whoever, the anti-Trump people, I think they're furious because of how genius this move is. Now, look, could it have been a mistake? Yeah, could have.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Doesn't feel like
it's possible.
Doesn't feel like it at all. But
and
okay.
It's that same thing. Oh, everybody in government is so incompetent. They're so incompetent. They couldn't have done any conspiracies because they're so incompetent. Everybody in government, it barely works.
Right,
have
right.
You tried
the
conspiracies don't exist because people are in government.
They're not smart enough, right?
Which is so it's so outdated, it's so lame, and it's so wrong. In fact, assuming that people in the government are incompetent is the best way to protect them from any
natural immunity
suspicion. Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like the jab companies that they don't have to, they can't get sued, they have immunity.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's like they can't be sued because they're so stupid. Come on.
Right.
They can't do anything right. So there you go. I mean, I'm pretty convinced 100% that this was obviously purposeful. It was obviously planned. He added the reporter 2 days before because they had this planned. They hum and hawed about, oh my goodness, should we wait? Should we not? 2 hours before it actually happened. And by the time this reporter was even able to write anything up, everything had already happened.
It's already done.
All the messaging was laid out. There's nothing. There's nothing you could have asked to get any more detail than what they already shared. And the fact is that Trump has always been the master at media manipulation, no matter what. Even if it looks like he's losing, even if it looks like that he's making a mistake, I'm not saying this as praise. I'm saying this as underestimating Trump has only ever hurt anyone who has tried to, come against
undermine
his plan.
Him. Sure. Yeah, it seems like it was a big plan a brilliant plan to carry out this plan.
Yeah,
and I am just curious, at what level Jeffrey Goldberg, he writes in this article about, maybe I thought it was fake or da-da-da-da-da. It wasn't until stuff happened, where he was like, oh, it's real. And that in itself feels very up because, the people behind whoever planned it had to know that just adding Jeffrey Goldberg to this Signal chat is not going to be enough. You're going to have to kind of string him along for a bit, and then you're going to have to show the evidence of like, okay, this is legit because we're talking about internal things, and then the thing happens, and then, the credibility. And then that way he's shocked, and this is his journalistic moment.
Yeah.
It's like this is like a make or break moment for his career. He has to write about it. He has to report on it. So in that way, it's very brilliant.
It's access. Yeah. I mean,
he's
I
playing
think
the pawn perfectly.
And I think he knows too.
I think at a certain point he knows. But
I think
what can he do? He either doesn't say anything and
Well, it's about access. That's the whole business. He was given
Yeah.
access in a way that nobody else has, allegedly.
Right. I mean, you got to peek into this whole operation. And as a journalist, what do? You have to report on what you see. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's a little cookie that they gave to The Atlantic and Jeffrey Goldberg because they're going to get the clicks. They're going to get the attention. This story itself is, creates all kinds of mainstream media generation and alt media breaking it down. And so, I guess
If
the
it
circus
wasn't,
continues.
yeah, if it wasn't for this quote unquote leak, him getting mysteriously added to this group that had all the messages that they wanted to get out, if it wasn't for that, nobody would care why they did the bombing or that they even did the bombing or what the situation is, Europe, especially because there's things in there that the vice president can't just say to Europe,
Right. They
you
can't
can't
say
just
directly.
come out and say,
Yeah.
you're pathetic, start paying your money. We're the only one who can do this for you, and we're tired of doing it. I mean,
But a leaked message is great. It's a great way to share your thoughts without sharing your thoughts.
It's perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
So I'm pretty
Okay.
convinced, but who knows?
Yeah. All right. Do you want to do just a moment, just talk about meetups real quick?
Yeah. Let's do that. There's
Okay.
meetups, y'all.
There's meetups.
My camera or my microphone was so far away. Go to Canary Crime Meetups. Go check it out. We got some meetups coming up. We just got notified of a meetup for the South and North Carolinas. Oh my gosh. We might have more Canarians in North and South Carolina than like maybe anywhere else in the world. It's pretty funny. They're everywhere. And they're always asking, when is the next meetup? When's the next meetup? And I'm like, guys, you do the meetups. We don't do the meetups. You put it on.
Yeah.
So we have a couple actually coming up in North and South Carolina. We just got word this morning that we have the South Carolina, North Carolina meetup on May 3rd. That's good. You want to schedule these about a month out, we've noticed. So May 3rd, 2025 at Neha's Ice Cream, Nehas, Ice Cream in Cherryville, North Carolina, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. RSVP to Dame Sarah. Looks like
X account. Yeah.
her X account here at DS, like Dame Sarah, DSS Shadows.
It's
No,
Shadows.
sorry,
It's
DS Shadows. That's
Yeah,
right.
all one word.
At DS Shadows. If you want to hike Crowder's Mountain prior to ice cream, I will be at the Linwood Road access and leave at 9 a.m. for
4 to 6 mile hike.
4 to 6 mile hike. Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Get some nature and then get some ice cream. So listen up, North Carolina, South Carolina, Canarians. We got meetups coming up just for you. So May 3rd, put it on your calendar. Neha's Ice Cream. If you need the details specifically, you can go to canarycrimemeetups.com. Did we put the other, wasn't somebody else planning a North Carolina meetup as well? Did that make it onto the website?
I was curious about that one because it was there, but I believe it was actually no, it's still there. It's still there.
Okay, it is there. We got a what was it? It was a text message.
Right. Was there an email? I might have messed up the other one. Maybe they can combine it though. I don't know. It depends.
No, the other one didn't have any details.
Right,
I think
that was the
one
problem.
was
Yeah.
Bert, and he didn't have any of the details yet.
Right.
So
Okay.
let's see here. Oh, we got to put the Minnesota Twin Cities. They're trying to do a meetup. Let's see here.
Which one's the Twin City? Really?
270 wants to do a meetup. Area code 270.
Oh my gosh, there's got to be
I
a
know.
better
We
way
need
to post this because
we need to do this.
I can't keep
Ah, here it is. It says, okay, so this is from jbart1214@gmail.com. Tentative update for the meetup that would be in Tryon, North Carolina, the first weekend in May.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's
Destination
on
and
there.
date, still tentative. Yeah. Okay. So
Okay,
there's a
so
couple there.
Yeah. So it was labeled Western Carolina, East Tennessee to be determined for Bart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So it's
All
on
right.
the website. Email address is there for people who want to contact. So
So go to
you go.
canarycrimemeetups.com, folks. Look, if you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, you got meetups coming up. We got meetups going on all over the place. But it's you. You guys are the ones who have to do it. If you're hearing your area code pop up on the text messages, if you want to meet up with other Canarians in your area, this is an extraordinarily important thing to do. I mean, come on. But in person, it doesn't get any better than that. Plus, it's really important to know people who think like you in your area. That's obvious. But if things go south, you want to make those friends. We did get a meetup update from the Alaska meetup. From Nomen Prunte says our meetup had 4 people total. Although we didn't have any other Canaries show up, we had didn't have any Canaries show up. We had a lively discussion on topics ranging from car maintenance to whether Trump's ear qualifies for, quote, has the appearance of a mortal head wound. In my opinion, no. I had printed out some fun news articles from recent CCNT episodes for discussion. Those of us who showed up have been practicing our critical thinking skills, mostly on each other, for well over a decade, so there was less need for reprogramming, but we did go over the following stories very briefly. Oh, that's fun. They went over the Ars Technica robot with 1,000 muscle twitches like human while dangling from ceiling. That was a spooky one.
That was creepy.
France 24, French MEP demands the U.S. give back the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, that's good. So looks like a great time.
Yep.
Let's see.
By the way, since you brought up Nomen Prunte, can I do this real quick? Because he did he did send us a little haiku. So let's just go ahead and play that.
Great. I don't know if it's a haiku.
Here. This is the nothing venture. Sulky slothful, motionless, delinquent, pausing, remiss, heir apparent of Lord belated, lover of delay, destitution, error, and evil, feeling vigorous in the absence of action, a sense of balance without moderation, pleasure in upholding the status quo, giving ill returns on others' efforts, lending endless commentary and self-motivated care, fearful of the demands of charity, wary of the burden of virtue, skirting all common welfare, composing an opus to security, explorer of the new islands of isolation, wishing desires away with a buffer of judgment, and neighbors held at arm's length, denizen of an earthly purgatory, presenting sulky slothful.
I wonder if at the meetups it's they speak to each other in poetry.
Do a poetry slam.
Yeah, just talk about the stories.
Nomen Prunte does say, I think I'm going to liberate myself from my current city state and join the nearest network state. So please tell Dame Miss G Beauty and the Canadians that I'm open to a joint venture exchange of time, treasure, and talent, or just to commiserate about being the redheaded stepchild of the continental United States. Unless I receive a better offer from Designer Soul and the Ruskies, perfectly content to work for our Russian handlers, whoever has the best value for value benefit package. Blessings to you and the Canarium, Nomen Prunte. Thank you very much, Nomen Prunte. And a big shout out to everybody up there in Alaska and Canada. You guys, you're so close to one another.
You're touching. You're touching.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'll be great. Excuse me. Yes, so canarycrimemeetups.com. If you want to put on a meetup, we recommend planning it about at least a month out ahead. There's been some people who've tried to do last minute ones, but it's difficult because not everybody catches every single show and it's hard to get the word out. But all you got to do, pick a time, pick a place, and just let us know. Send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. We'll put it on the website. We'll talk about it on the show. And you can meet some canaries in your area. Woo!
This is fun!
Woo!
Okay.
A note, an audio note from Sir Ike.
Oh, good. Yeah.
About the T-shirt council, I believe.
Okay.
Let me play that. It's time-sensitive information.
Hey, Canary family, this is Sir Ike here. I want to give everybody an update on the shirt council and supply drop. The shirts are on order, and I should be getting those ready to be designed here hopefully this week. As far as the supply drop, I should have the last piece I need to finish manufacturing deliver tomorrow, and then I'm hoping to be able to ship those out within the next week or so. There are a few people that I'm still missing addresses on. I've sent emails to everybody, but if your name is Ren B, Walker G, Christopher M, or Pavel A, I would, if you could send me an email with your mailing address so I can get those out the door to you, I would appreciate it. It's canarychristsupply.drop@gmail.com. Thanks.
There you go. Things are getting moving.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, if you heard your name, go check your email. You need some information, and you can nail it. Okay. Should we? Well, I'll say this. You should join the text message alert system. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226 because it's very important. It's very important. And we got some text messages. They always come in. We're getting text messages. Just some good information for us, Gons. 573 says, I'm late to the show and I am hearing your pre-stream roll bit. You need to keep the ads. I am 10 minutes behind because it took some time to start. That's something. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's whatever you guys think. You let us know. 612 says, have a great show. The real Tim P. Thank you, Tim Pool. Appreciate your attention.
Tim
and
Pool
your
hanging out.
encouragement. 678 says, can't wait to dig into the RSS on the ARK Alert. Sounds intriguing. God bless, brother. Sending you all love on a 3rd-year wedding anniversary. Oh, congrats.
Hey, congrats.
Feeling blessed. Also looking for them forward to the next supply drop. Yes, it's coming. Hopefully there's some more coffee in there. Otherwise, I'm new goodness online. You bet. Otherwise, I'm new goodness online. All right. You are good goodness. You are new goodness. 678, thank you for the text message. And that's why, see, he's not even a live viewer. He just likes being able to text us and know when stuff is coming. That's for you podcast listeners as well. Text Canary to 877-740-3226. Shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. And all you got to do is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you can send us messages whenever you want. Yeah, we got another one from 352. It says, try to send out a text 10 or 15 minutes before going live next time. So let us know. And when you send the usual one, you go live. I cannot send 2. That's too expensive. But yeah, we've thought about maybe sending one early. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough
Yeah,
to
it's
figure it
hard.
out.
We gotta try things out.
Yeah. Okay. We should get to the news. Do you want to thank some producers just real quick? It's a short list.
Sure. We
might as well just knock them out because we would hate to miss them. All right. We got some financial producers coming in over at canarycry.support. They came in under the executive producer amount, but these are the people you should thank or thank God for them because they're keeping the show going. Starting out with producer Willem B.
Thank you, Willem B. Appreciate it.
Willem B. Just upgraded his monthly support to the supply drop. So good job. That's great.
There you go. Thank you.
canarycrysupply.drop.com. Support the show $33 a month and get cool stuff every quarter. Cage Rattler Coffee came in. Woo! Go to cagerattlercoffee.com.
There we go.
Value for value never tastes so good. We've had like 10 comments of people. I guess the timing is such that the first buyers of Cage Rattler Coffee are now re-buyers of Cage Rattler Coffee. So they're coming back. It's the best coffee, or so I've heard. So I've been told. But yes, it's great. We don't own Cage Rattler Coffee, but a portion of every sale goes to support the show. It's a value for value proposition and another great example of how producers out there are finding creative ways to do their part to keep the community going. So thank you very much. Go to cagerattlercoffee.com. It's great.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
Yeah. Well, it's quality stuff. Good quality stuff and made by actual real-life producers of the show. Okay, we got Sir Tristan Knight of the Garden. Came in for 1111.
Sir Tristan, thank you very much. 11.
And we caught Sir Tristan's prayer request on the text messages pre-show, or that was the beginning of the show, I guess. Huh? Yeah. So let's do that. I think Sir Tristan had sent a note specifically about that. Prayer for Sir Tristan's father-in-law and family. Yes, let's do that. Just make sure it's...
Do it again?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Pray Deucers, assemble!
Just in case any prey-ducers missed the message, we're praying for Sir Tristan, Knight of the Garden. Father just had a stroke and the baby is sick. Things are tough, but God is tougher.
Amen to that.
We had, last but not least, we got one more. This is producer Anonymous came in, signed up for $9.11 a month.
Boom, boom. Thank you.
Thank you. Those monthly producers. A big shout out to everyone who has a monthly producership. It is impossible. This would be impossible without people committing to producing the show on a monthly basis. Doesn't even matter how much it is. Doesn't need to be, the supply drop or the t-shirt council. Just whatever God is calling you to. Extremely important. This anonymous person says, I like to keep a low profile. Can't have anyone I know in real life happen to hear that and realize I'm an actual insane person who unironically gets their news from VR headset googly-eyed person and Gons. That's a good point. We're always very...
Wait a minute, hold on. The googly-eyed VR person, sure, people might think, but me... Am I that crazy? Or people just see that you get your news or analysis from me? Are you embarrassed about it? Is it an issue?
Get it from the Age of Deceit guy, that wacko.
Just a crazy Asian guy. Don't listen to the crazy Asian dude.
He's Japanese. He doesn't know their language is crazy. Let's see here. We had one more producer come in for $33.
Illuminatus!
Who is it?
And this is producer Marita R. Says, love from Las Cruces. I am real. You are real. This is another great way to confirm that you are extant and you are real. If you are questioning whether you actually exist or not, producing the show is a great way to confirm that. Because I'll tell you what, when I read these people off this list and I look at the bank account, you're pretty real. You're realer than you even know. So thank you very much, Marita.
Thank you, Marita. Appreciate you.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. All right, let's get into it. We're close. We're close.
I was going to say we're running out of time. I apologize to the producers who are on streaks under the $7.77 mark. I'm keeping your streaks. Your streaks are going. We're running out of time today, though, so I got to push off the thing. Oh, shoot. Aaron B. Producer Aaron B.
Hey, Aaron B.
There he is. Sorry.
Thank you.
Producer Aaron B. is on a 9-episode streak.
9-episode streak. Ooh, that is an important number because...
Yes, where'd you find this?
Hey, you lit now.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Aaron B.
Thank you,
All
Aaron
right.
B.
Let's finish the news.
Let's do it.
State-sponsored propaganda machinery.
This is propaganda's off the charts, folks. I mean, we had some fun pointing out. It's been a fun time to criticize and point out the errors of the ways of the mainstream media. Now, as we always love to do, let's point out some of the errors of the new juggernaut, economic juggernaut that is the alternative media. Mm-hmm. And remember, our definition here is there's the mainstream media, corporately funded. Alternative media, corporately funded. Mm-hmm. Independent media, not corporately funded.
True independent media.
True independent media. And this has yet to sink in. This is one of our, long-standing Canary Cry theory of everything that hasn't quite made it into the mainstream yet. It's just a matter of time. And this event is one that will accelerate it quite a bit, because you might think, oh, you know what? Sure, Tucker Carlson, he does ads, he's corporately funded. Sure, Russell Brand, whoever, corporately funded. But what we're going to find out now is that the corporate funding and therefore the corporate influence on those who you might think are independent media is unfortunately going to let us down again. This report comes from, ironically, Nick Sorter on X.
Alt Media.
Alt
Is he
Media.
Alt Media or is he independent media?
You know, I don't know what his funding is. But he is an alt media megastar. Is who he
on
is.
scene, he's described himself as on scene covering stories MSM won't. Seen on Tucker Carlson Tonight, Fox News, Newsmax, Timcast, etc.
Yeah, he's alt media. He's alt media superstar. He's got almost 1 million followers. This is who he is. But
Never heard of him.
I will say, in many regards, you know, it's not for nothing. He's popular for reasons. And he put together this great thread, and I'm going to be working off of his thread because I was putting together all the links to tell the story, and then it just turns out that he already had them all in a link, you know, all in a thread. So thank you, Nick Sorter, for this. He says, exposed. That's how you know it's good. You know, you got to start with exposed. Influenceable. The company cutting big checks to, quote, influencers on behalf of Big Soda. Over the past 48 hours, several large, supposedly MAGA-aligned, quote, influencers posted almost identical talking points, fed them convincing you Maha was out of line for not wanting soda purchases with food stamps. Some even slimily invoked President Trump as an emotional manipulation tactic, referring to his Diet Coke button. Not a single one of them disclosed they were paid for by these posts, which led readers to believe a general soda ban was in the works. So this is recently RFK saying, hey, if you're on food stamps, if you're getting SNAP, if you're spending if you're getting taxpayer dollars to buy you food and support your family, we're not going to let you buy soda, sugary drinks, because there is this pretty sick diabolical cycle of getting people on food stamps, getting people on SNAP benefits, with that trapping them in a cycle of unhealthy food and poison like soda, causing diabetes, which then causes these same people to require, tax-funded medical treatment just because of habitual poisoning of their bodies through taxpayer funds. I mean, it's really a diabolical cycle. This is the whole thing RFK has been talking about. So he comes out, he says, you know what, we're going to change the rules. You can't get soda, amongst other things, with SNAP benefits, which you think, if you're a Maha person, if you just think that we shouldn't be poisoning ourselves, this sounds great. This is important. Let's keep people who need help healthy so they don't need more support down the line. Because, of course, this is the diabolical cycle that keeps people trapped in a requirement for Big Daddy government to take care of them. However, a strange thing happened. And this was huge MAGA accounts coming out suddenly attacking RFK for saying this is, against our freedoms. There's some examples here. Clown World, which is a pretty influential, I don't know if I'd call them MAGA, but conservative influencer, says the government wants to block soda purchases from Americans on SNAP. Remember when New York City tried this and it completely backfired? President Trump proudly had a Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. This is ridiculous government overreach. Let people decide for themselves. Ridiculous government overreach of how you can spend tax dollars. Like the idea that we shouldn't be telling people who are getting government benefits what they can't buy with the government. Like that's the whole thing about government benefits. You can't go out and gamble with your SNAP benefits. You can't spend it on drugs. There are issues. Okay, anyways. Another one of the big ones was Eric Doherty. Says, important. We cannot allow Make America Healthy Again messaging to be used to force needy Americans into not buying certain things. Yes, we can. We do. Some officials in D.C. are working on trying to prevent Americans on SNAP from using those benefits to purchase any soda. Remember when New York City Democrats tried to prevent people from buying and consuming soda? It backfired big time. President Trump literally has a Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. Let people think and decide for themselves. And it goes on some more
It's
there.
starting to sound like the mainstream media talking heads repeating the same talking points.
Exactly. We love those videos where you can put 2, 4, 6, 10, 30 mainstream reports next to each other with the same talking points. And here we go. Not Jerome Powell, another huge account. Government overreach strikes again. This time it's soda's turn. And I'll skip the whole thing except for the part where it says even President Trump likes to
Even
drink the
President
Diet
Trump.
Coke on a daily basis. So you've got the same talking points. One last one. Ian Miles Chong. Again, another humongous conservative thing. A new war on soda has begun, targeting purchases made through... It's all the same
A
thing.
new war on soda.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Promoting
my
a
gosh.
better health for Americans is a reasonable idea, but not when it involves curbing Diet Coke purchases.
Wow.
Restricting
Gee,
soda
Louie,
through Snap is unnecessary move.
Come on.
It's all there, right? And you go, okay, all right. Well, they're independent. They're alternative. What could be so bad? Well, Nick sort of continues. These influencers were given a couple of templates to use by influenceable. One of those templates specifically telling them to mention Trump's Diet Coke habit. This was done to invoke an emotional response from loyal Trump supporters, making them feel as if banning soda from Snap would be anti-Trump. This is an incredibly dirty tactic meant to manipulate loyal followers. And what he has here is a screenshot of this service, influenceable, which is, again, this kind of sinister name. Influenceable. It says soda bans and government overregulation. They give you the key messaging. They give you the key resources. They give you the whole message for you to craft your own thing. Now, the way Influenceable works, I actually went in and checked it out when I saw it. I went to Influencable's website, which you really don't get much from there. But what it is basically is a propaganda marketplace. Or you could put it, it's a way for independent influencers, creators to make money. And what happens is lobbyists, corporations, businesses, whatever, you get an account on Influenceable. And when you need a message to go out, you create basically a posting, like a job posting. And you say, okay, we'll pay $50 per post to whoever posts about getting soda, the soda Snap benefits. Here's our talking points. Here's some resources. Mention Trump. We got to mention Trump for emotional manipulation. Make sure to mention his diet thing. And for every post you do, the prices range. Like there's ones, they're $50, $100. Some of these posts, these guys were getting like $1,000 to post about this.
That's still
soda
pretty
ban.
low. You try to get one of these big influencer celebrity types to post something, you can get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, that's exactly my point, Gons. Yeah. My point is these influencers who you would think maintaining credibility, being authentic, reporting on what they believe should be reported on, expressing their own authentic opinions. That's the idea behind big X accounts, behind influencers. Is there's this impression
they are the media.
They are the media, and now that they are the media, we see that some of their posts they're getting paid $1,000 for, and not just a post, against whatever Bernie or AOC or whatever, something aligned. They are literally misaligning themselves for $1,000 to influence huge swaths of people who are supporting Make America Healthy Again, like Trump supporters, MAHA, RFK supporters. This is their audience, and they are delivering a message that is they are being paid by corporate influence, by lobbyists, by Coca-Cola. That's what this is. It's really disgusting.
What's funny is I was just curious. I wanted to look at Ian Miles Chong. He had ever posted about soda before this. I don't know if people are pointing this out or not. I just did my own little search here. But back on January 2nd of 2023, he posted a truly damning thread about the USDA and its incestuous relationship with both soda companies and activist groups.
Wow.
And he posts a thread by Callie Means talking about how Coke consulted to ensure sugar taxes failed.
So Ian Miles Chong forsaking his own experience and his own
his
stuff.
own ethics for a couple $1,000 maybe to make this post. So.
And this is what we've been talking about, folks, with the value for value model. I mean, this is why you cannot get mixed up in taking corporate money. Yeah, I mean, these guys, you can never trust them again.
Yeah, it's
the Nick Sorters continues.
They
took the bait. And who knows, maybe it was a bit of an op to get rid of, to bring down their credibility. I know some sides of the fence that would love to make, conservative X accounts less credible.
Right.
And for $1,000, that's a pretty,
that's pretty cost effective.
Cheap, pretty cheap credibility destructor. Nick Sorter continues, influencers were texted by influenceable telling them to help push back against government overreach and told they'd be paid between several hundred and even $1,000 plus for each post, attempting to turn MAGA folks against RFK Jr. and Maha. Here's a screenshot of the alert that went out to the people. The way influenceable operates is simple. They develop comfy relationships with lobbying firms like Ameribev and Cart Choice are potentially some examples, who are funded handsomely by massive corporations such as Coca-Cola and PepsiCo. They also develop relationships with influencers such as the ones listed above and pay them to push these lobbying groups' talking points. They're middlemen. That's makes a heck of a lot essentially that makes a heck of a lot essentially selling out your country. Yeah, okay, we get the point. Every influencer contacted by Influenceable met the same criteria, supposedly MAGA aligned. This was all meant to manipulate their followers, which trust them for news and opinions and deciding with Big Soda. A grand total of 0 of them disclosed they were paid to push a stance on proposed regulations. And this is the big bit. It was posted by user MailEonX. It has the paid partnership policy for X. Long story short, if you are going to do paid partnership stuff, which is already sketchy, you have to disclose that it's an ad. You got to put hashtag ad or, what's the word?
Disclose that it's a paid
supported. What's the? I forget the
word.
Sponsored
or
sponsored. That's what it is. We're so disconnected from that.
We don't even know the words anymore.
I don't even know what the word sponsorship means.
Yeah.
It says there was another template too, specifically pushing CPAC link, calling this a war on soda. This link was included in the outline provided by Influenceable. Influenceable does this a lot, pushing sketchy leftist aligned ads in the past. They'll also pay people to routinely push candidates and movies too. This is much more as an example, but I'm sure you've seen some of these posts, and they give some examples of Sound of Freedom, it looks like, some other stuff. But they do have the screenshots directly from Influenceable. So when you're on their text message alert system, way less cool than our text message alert system, they send you out these opportunities to make money. And it shows a couple of things. Like, number one, if you're not principled about taking corporate money, I'm sure they didn't think twice about it. Like, I'm sure they didn't really, they got kids to feed. They got to make money. They're making some money on the X post. I'm sure they're making money all sorts of ways. But they were in a position that whatever the advertising-based, monetary system for these influencers, which is all ad-based, even if you're just getting paid by X, it's all based on ad placements, things like that. You become dependent on it. And when the money doesn't work for you, what do? You go seek out more corporate influence to make up the difference. It just shows, a lack of creativity, but also, goodness, I cannot imagine turning on my principles enough and just telling people totally opposite stuff of what I've said before for $1,000. That's just, it's kind of embarrassing how cheap that is, I think.
Well, we did talk last episode about the VCs in Silicon Valley really looking to invest instead of the tech bro nerd guy that's been the target of these venture capitalists for the last couple decades. Now they're looking for the well-grounded person with a good family and faith and good ethics and stuff like that. And this is, I mean, it seems like just the beginning of this, where on a small scale, a lot of these what had been labeled conservative influencers getting the opportunity to monetize their content in a way.
Yeah.
And anytime that is presented, you risk compromise from obviously your principles and ethics. Maybe these guys, I'm sure these guys will be fine in terms, they might lose some people, but for the time being, I think they'll be okay. They're big enough to kind of keep rolling, in my opinion. But as time goes on, it'll be worse and worse. And I fear that, as the offers get bigger, I did post on my X, because it was in the context of Gavin Newsom, which we're not going to talk about today. But Gavin Newsom was talking about how California is so great, and we have Silicon Valley, which creates the technology, and then we have Southern California and LA and Hollywood to extend culture and all this kind of stuff, and we have the VCs. He was highlighting the VCs, and so I brought up like, hey, when you talk about VCs, we're talking about how they're all funding Christians or wanting to. The Christianity is the new religion in Silicon Valley. Just an episode ago. What kind of offers are these Christians going to get? Obviously, Newsom, interesting, but even more interesting or more curious for me, how many well-meaning conservatives or even more believers will take the bait here? And it's really a Matthew 4, Luke 4, Jesus in the wilderness, temptation by Satan, showing him the kingdoms of the world kind of moment, because we talked about this before we went live today, Basil. You have a theory about why we've never been approached by venture capitalists and some of these folks who may present a large check for some compromise of the Canary brand or attention or whatever it might be. And it's because both Basil and I, we know if somebody asks us, hey, here's $10 million to,
that's tough.
Whatever.
It'd be tough. That's a tough one.
Our flesh would take over and be like, oh, that's a lot of money. It would solve a lot of our kind of issues going on with certain things.
You just see it so often. If Eric Doherty did it for $1,000, for $1,000, turned, he is in a situation where his own, forget about what other people think about him, just what he thinks about himself. Like, what? You're just saying opposite of what you actually believe for $1,000? Obviously $1,000 is like a lot of money, but is it enough to
to completely compromise your messaging?
It's mind-blowing to me.
It is very mind-blowing. But
I'm
time,
transparent. I've said it on air and I'll say it again. I would have if somebody came and said, here's a check for $10 million, put out my message. I'm like, ooh, 10 million, huh? Oh, that's a lot of money.
Canary Capital comes to us and say,
hey, money.
Hey, you guys are canaries. We're canaries. We're filing for all these big crypto ETFs. You guys like crypto. You guys talk crypto. Why don't we have a little deal? We'll give you some cash. You guys can promote Canary Capital.
So I promise you this, folks. We have, and I praise God for this, okay? God gets the glory. But I am impressed, Gons, by our ability to stick with the value for value principles and to not start taking this kind of approach, because Lord knows there's a constant temptation to like, oh, well, we could get some money this way, or we could get some money this way, or we could get some money this way. So, God bless for not putting us, in a situation where we cannot resist that temptation.
You even went as far as to say God is just not allowing us.
I just don't think he's allowing it. I think he's
in
like,
the presence
he's
of
not
that kind
ready.
of opportunity.
Not ready. Yeah, he knows that if that and I've said it. I've been very transparent, okay? And look, I'm being a little funny, but I'm also, here's
it's reality.
The deal.
It's
here's the deal.
Who would not consider it if they were presented with $10 million? Yeah.
If one day your best buddy Basil comes out and starts spouting stuff that is totally opposite that you would ever expect and that I've ever stood on, if you notice that I start
Jesus was just a cool guy
coming totally antithetical to who I am, you can just know, and I promise you this, just know that somebody gave me $10 million. Because that's where I'm at now. And I think that's why God is not letting those offers come in, because he's like, oh, I know Basil. He'll take the 10 million. So let's keep him away. But I'm just telling you, if that happens, just rest easy and just know, oh, Basil must have been given $10 million. That must be what this is.
Now, specific to Eric Doherty, he did post an apology. Did he not?
He did. I thought
He did.
bring that link.
It's right here. I have
you
it
got
here.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He says, yeah, that was dumb of me. Massive egg on my face. In all seriousness, it won't happen again.
I
he
promise.
actually quoted. Oh, what happened here? He quoted Nick Sorter's thread. Then he posted a couple pictures of the paid partnership policy for X, where it says that you gotta say it. You gotta reveal that it's a paid.
Yeah, it's not only just policy, it's the actual law.
Yeah,
it is the law of the land that you have to say if it's an ad or a sponsored post.
You know, I do wonder, and maybe they've tightened this up a little bit, but for the last few years, at least on YouTube, this type of thing they were cracking down on if people were not doing, disclosed ads type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't clamp down on like hacked accounts that were doing like fake scammy crypto stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting how they prioritize certain things, like you got to tell that you're being paid to say this, but if you hack an account, then it's fine. Which I think a lot of people use the account was hacked excuse for some deals over the last couple of years, but we won't get into that here.
All right, what do you want to end with here, Gonzo?
I do not think I have time to get into the Ark of the Covenant, because I think it's going to take a little while. So what I will do is tonight.
You want to just give
I
see.
I will record. Yeah, I'll probably record the story with my thread and everything, and make it into a little flyby for Friday. And that way,
great.
We're covering the story and we're not pushing it and just kind of not, because I feel like it deserves a little bit of time. So
yeah, what a great sort of like diabolical scheme to name the episode.
I know.
About
Is
the
that
story
the greatest tease or what? That's yeah. Sorry. Well, the story is that the CIA allegedly remote viewed and discovered the Ark of the Covenant in 1988, and so the general conversation about the Ark really opens up an eschatological conversations of all the monotheistic Abrahamic faiths. And I think that part of me is more interesting than just, the CIA remote viewed and looked for the Ark of the Covenant. It's like, of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course. But what are the implications of that? And it's very interesting when you go through each eschatology, the role the Ark plays in Islamic, Jewish, and Christian eschatology. And, if you're not going to make the Friday thing, I'll give the kicker away. The big thing is that with Jewish and Islamic end times prophecies, the Ark is used as a way to validate divinity and authority, and even some restoration when it comes from the Jewish side. Whereas in Christian or biblical eschatology, or I guess Protestant Christian eschatology, the Ark of the Covenant simply appears in heaven in the book of Revelation, chapter 11. So almost as if to say, that whatever all that stuff is going on earth, counterfeit. It's actually in heaven already. And so anyway, I wanted to do a whole breakdown on that, but time is of the essence.
It's going to be great. You got to pick the kids up from school. That's Wednesdays for you, folks.
Yeah. And pray for me, because I feel a very, very deep itch to write a book. And the last time I had this was 10 years ago, and it never went to the press.
So pray for God to release him from this feeling so he doesn't have to do it. Is that what you're asking?
No. To well, for clarity, whether I should do it, but also if I do decide to do it, which I feel that I should, that it works out. That could be a big thing for us. I feel that as time goes on with this year, especially, we're kind of it's easy to get bogged up into one small story, this and that and whatever. And I think we've done a pretty good job of not just reporting a whole bunch of news to you guys, because it's easy to get lost. There's so much news coming out every day. But I feel that you and I both have our sort of standing theories on things, and some of those foundational theories / theses are really rounding into form to the point where I think we can each on our own, but maybe together, I don't know, present some of those ideas in a more formal way.
Totally.
Which it will allow people to take us more seriously. You know, when you write a book, you can make 10 documentaries, and unless you're, you know, some super celebrity documentary filmmaker, people won't care too much. But if you write a book,
we got to have something for
You write a
other podcasts that want to bring us on.
Right,
Nobody wants to bring on so you talk about the news on a podcast, huh? Come on my podcast.
Right.
Nobody wants
Or
that.
yeah, he made a video or documentary about this or that. I mean, yeah, documentary filmmakers are somewhat sought after, but in a sense, writing a book just immediately gives people the perception of credibility, which we will play into that just like the Trump administration played into the Atlantic journalist and made him think that he was accidentally added to a chat to reveal some things about
Lord guide us.
going on. So,
all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Big shout out to all the producers, whether you came in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Reminder to supply drop folk and T-shirt council folk, go check your email, see if you got something from Sir Ike. One more time, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Even if you don't catch the live shows, it's very fun. You can be like 810 who texted and said, "Hey, Basil, watching from Michigan. Shout out to my man Gons." Next message. Would you like to go to Chosen Last Supper Part 1 with me after work Saturday? Show would be at 9:20. Next message.
Whoa.
Wrong place. Wrong place.
Asking for is that a date? What's going on?
The next one says, wrong place, lol. I mean, Gons can come with his wife if he wants. You can go. I can't go to the Chosen Last Supper Part 1, apparently. But thanks for the invite anyways, 810. Let's see here. Yep, that's it. So text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Get on the list. It's a blast. You can text us whenever you want, and you'll never miss a show unless you want to. That's up to you. And of course, big old shout out to our producers with their coming in with their treasure, our very talented producers. This is, if both the Instructables, what was it? Not Instructable.
Influenceables.
Influenceable. I mean, what a sinister name too. Like, they're influenceable. The influencers, they're influenceable for money. Anyways, if that story doesn't help wake you up, if the veil hasn't already fallen, hopefully that helps. That the value for value model is truly, I mean, at this point, from what we can tell, the only model that I think is commensurate with the value created in people's lives versus the value created for corporations, and also lacks so many of the credibility crushing temptations that come from trying to squeeze every dollar you can out of every post. So if that's something you want to support, if that means something to you, if you've been betrayed by your favorite MAGA conservative influencer or something, consider producing this show. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. However you want to do it, canarycry.support. We got some producers who are coming in, supporting with their time, sort of like the Clippies.
Clippy on those videos. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you, Clippies.
And of course, the timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Who did it?
Oh, Morgan
Tell
E.
me who did it.
Morgan E. did it.
Morgan E. is on
Thank
a
you,
roll.
Morgan E.
Thank you so much, Morgan E. Very important thing you're doing for us there. And other than that, thank you to Jam, who is the new admin of the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42 for the Discord channel. You can find both the Discord and the Telegram by going to canarycry.party. You'll find the links there. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to Clank for clanking. And thank you, dear listener, for sharing the show. Sharing it however you want. Go ahead, hit that share button, retweet on the tweeter. Do whatever you must do. I know that Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, put together a post to try to connect all the known Canarians on X. So go check your notifications there. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to I Love Jesus on X. It did some great engagement there. Thank you to K-Man, of course, Gato, Kraken, all the homies over on the X who help us just know that we're real, very similarly to the people sending text messages, just to know that they exist. It's nice to know that we exist by seeing people interact with us on the social media stuff. But sharing the show, sharing the episode, very important thing to do. And you can do that on your social media, or you can do it in real life. Do whatever you want, whoever is around you. I don't care if you go to the dentist, tell your dentist, put in your headphones and turn up the volume so your dentist, while he's drilling in your head, can hear the blasting dulcet tones of Basil and Gons in your headphones. You can do it however you want. We call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake him.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
All right, just ask Noah. Gons, you got any last words?
Let's see. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Happy Heaven's Gate Mass Suicide Day.
Oh, gosh.
1997. And stay tuned for a Beyond the Verse and Canary Cry Family Hour tomorrow.
I think this week I'm going to try calling it Canary Cry Clubhouse.
Okay, well, the ever-evolving title of the call-in show. And then Friday, I'll try to put together a flyby for the Ark of the Covenant story.
Lovely. Okay. There you go, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to turn in next term, but until then, thank outside the courage.
Feed him more. Toilets! Toilets! I love the Great Reset.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Give me a break. Give me a break.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
You know what's going on. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on? Gotta turn it on, shows coming on live. VPN on when I'm going online. Anonymity, man, cryptocurrency. We got everything you need, get it 3 times a week. Jesus Christ the King, let the Holy Spirit speak. Battle in the cage, gotta set the captive free. Value for value, to me it's not free. Wish I had a longer streak, but this creativity, go fulfill the 3 T's. That's time, treasure, talent. Give it right back, put it right back in balance. Not right or left, we not with the distractions. Catastrophes are the classic techniques, all attacks of the enemy getting defeated underneath the feet of Jesus. Just believe us, media is trying to deceive you. Gotta read between the lines till you see through the disguise. It's a slit reptilian eye sitting on top the pyramid. Got a myriad of topics, might be on a watch list. R.I.P. face like the sun, but you cannot stop this. Like the Lord's gonna come stop this beast system and this infinite wisdom. Yeah, when the time is right, yeah, we're gonna take flight like a thief in the night. So I gotta get it right. I gotta repent and sit patient. Waiting for supply drop. Google eyes don't blink, man. I need some eye drops. Google mind deep thinking for the AI thoughts. Yeah, Basil, Gons. You know what's going on. Basil, Gons. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on. Basil, Gons. And you know what's going on. Basil, Gons. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on.
You better wrap it up!
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Cut!